Well, good evening, everyone. How's it going? Thanks for turning out on this wonderful Sunday evening. Apologies for being late. Apologies for not having a stream yesterday. I legitimately have no idea. But over the past, I think it's been about a month, I have been totally and completely, I don't know if it's sick. I don't know if it's food poisoning. I don't know if it's cancer. I don't know if it's AIDS. I don't know. Did Pride weather come down and just, bestow upon me HIV? I have no fucking idea, but I've been zapped of energy. I've been dizzy as a motherfucker. I've been having this badass fucking headache. Otherwise, we'd be going full steam ahead, but I don't want to complain. I don't want to make excuses. I just want to tell you guys that's why there hasn't been as many streams as I would like, or that you guys have come to expect. Hopefully today will be the day where we can finally turn all of this stuff around and we can just get back at it. But I don't know if you can tell or something. What's up, Rookie? What's up, Meme? I seen George was over there in the Rumble chat as well. But yeah, no, I'm really happy and I'm really, it's really good to see all you guys. I had to do this one mostly because this news would be out of vogue if I kept kicking it down the road any longer. And I just wanted to hang out with you guys, honestly, to be completely honest on this one. And probably go for about an hour because I'm still super fucking dizzy, real sick. I try to keep it together for the videos, but there are a couple that came out this past week that aren't quite up to stuff, and I also don't want to, keep you guys out here for streams when I don't think that I'm performing at my best. So apologies for this one not being, anything longer than about an hour or something like that, but we've got some very important information, so thanks again, guys. Thanks for turning out. Oh, Ed was in here. What's up, buddy? Yeah. No, make sure that are we live over here on you? It looks like it. Looks like we got the numbers pumped up over here. So, no, everything's good. Everything's good, unless she does a fan either. Yeah, no, for sure. So, yeah, it looks like we are all good on this one. So, we're going to start out. We'll start out first and foremost with covering the Russia coup that never was, because I found that shit to be incredibly interesting, to say the least, and not something that we haven't completely seen before. It's like, okay, what was that, Friday? Okay, so Friday, I pumped out the one video. Had to go to the store, and then that was about it. And yeah, so I missed all the hubbub that, oh my god, Putin's being kicked out of Moscow and everything is falling. And I went and checked my phone first thing Saturday morning, and then it's like, oh, there's a coup. Went for a run, came back, and oh, don't worry, there's no coup anymore. So it's like, what the fuck is actually going on here? So wanted to take a look at this stuff, but it's actually all right that we waited. Oh, excuse me, a couple of, just the extra day here, because we got a nice, succinct recap by Mario Nafal. He was the guy who was saying that Tate, hey guys, trust me, Andrew Tate, totally guilty. I've seen the evidence and everything's bad until, the new charges and the charges were officially laid. And he's like, well, I've seen the evidence and it doesn't really seem like it's worthy of commitment. So it's like, what the fuck is going on here? So he was the guy. He got retweeted by Elon Musk. He's apparently the authority when it comes to everything that was happening on the ground. So I want to go through his recap that was through here. And then also we've got I've got another person we can throw to after this that he's got the better take in my opinion, but then again, I don't know all that much about this stuff. Like, we have uncorroborated events, we've got a bunch of different planes and everything that was shut down. There's like 15 people who died, and basically what's his nuts here, I even forget the motherfucker's name, Prigozhin. Oh, he was basically just knocking on the Kremlin's front door, and it's like, okay, pal, I'm sure that was exactly what happened. So the Russia coup. What happened? Who won? What's next? What happened? Something was blown out of proportion by the media. Who won? Whatever happened in the background during this disinformation campaign, because let's keep it a buck. This was just another event in a Slavic civil war. call it exactly what it is. There was nothing. It was once again much ado about nothing. Last time we seen something like this was in fact earlier this week. Hey, remember when that sub collapsed and all of a sudden Hunter Biden's a whistleblower from the FBI came out saying that, oh yeah, he's actually on the take, and here's the text of him and Joe sitting together in a room discussing a $10 million payout. Oh no, but there's some billionaires at the bottom of the ocean that we all knew about, in fact blowing up about this time last week, but we're just going to keep everybody in suspense. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? Now, the past day has been wild and confusing. We covered the event from start to end live in our 24-hour Twitter space. I'm not watching all of it. Fuck that. Or listening. I think that's the way that it goes. Basically radio broadcast, right? Here's everything that has happened since the coup failed. Coup in quotation marks, because yeah, the whole idea that this was a coup might be a little bit pushed on by the media. We know that at least 15 Russian soldiers were killed during the incident, with the bulk of them being from helicopters shot down by Wagner forces. Which, do we have any evidence that a helicopter was actually shot down? I'm just wondering. All criminal charges against Prigozhin, the Wagner chief. Yes, because this was the Wagner coup when I first seen it, and then this Prigozhin dude now he's getting all the smoke, and he's hiding out in Belarus or something. It's so fucked, right? Have been dropped. Oh, okay. During negotiations between President of Belarus, Lukashenko, and Prigozhin, charges in the leadership of Russia's Ministry of Defense were not discussed. Okay. All Wagner fighters will return to their bases and sign contracts with the Russian military. Oh, okay. Prigozhin will be transferred to Belarus as part of a deal struck between Prigozhin, Lukashenko, and Putin. Oh, but this was like, the coup was just about there, but now all of a sudden this guy who was moments away from overthrowing the capital, now he's in a point where he's negotiating with mom while dad is just being kept at bay so he doesn't whip his ass. No one seems to know the current whereabouts of Prigozhin. Oh, but he was just discussing things with Lukashenko. Oh, okay, cool. Zelensky's office reported that they were disappointed with Prigozhin's decision to withdraw forces. I'm sure. In brief, Wagner fighter will sign with the Russian military. Oh, okay. Prigozhin will not be charged with any crimes, but will be transferred to Belarus, where, yeah, we'll never see from this motherfucker again, if he was in fact guilty of all the crimes charged against him. So his thoughts. Okay, Mario's thoughts on this. Putin is weaker than ever, and Prigozhin's life will forever be in danger. The winner, Ukraine and the West. I'm sure, just like how, the ghost of Kiev was up there in the sky taking down a bunch of different fucking fighter pilots. Oh my god, these fucking normie takes on this shit. I would not be surprised if a peace deal is reached this year between Russia and Ukraine. Russia cannot afford to continue this war. Yeah, cool. To say it's ridiculous to come to this conclusion, given the same point, these same people are also parroting the idea that they're running out of ammo. It's also funny to think about. There's another story that dropped last week as well, and did a video on it, very short video on it, about, that simple accounting error that gave Ukraine an additional $6.8 billion in armed forces. What was it, military support or some shit like that? Oh no, that stuff's already there. It was just a simple rounding error. We can just go ahead and take it off the tab. And then this happens. Okay, so let's hear from the man himself. Putin speaks against the coup by Wagner Group. Okay, he mentions that this is a criminal campaign, mutiny, and treason. I do believe that there are some subtitles, or it's at least translated, so we can go ahead and listen to this boy right here. Should have all the audio on. We'll just go ahead and listen here real quick to this one. It's not a long clip by any means.
To Moscow, where we're hearing from President Putin in a recorded address.
Is heroic. And last night I spoke to the commander of the southern troops.
Okay.
This is a criminal, adventuristic campaign.
Okay.
It is equivalent to armed mutiny. Russia will defend itself and repel this inimical move. We are fighting for the life and the security of our citizens and our territorial integrity.
To Moscow.
Okay, you know what that speaks like to me? Because that was, I legitimately, you guys just could have put that down in a fucking PowerPoint presentation instead of, you know, just bumbling through some fucking borked translation. You know what that tells me? Somebody was in charge of a little bit of a cell, decided that, you know what, hey, we're listening to some Western propaganda that, you know what, Russia's kind of losing this stuff, decided to take up arms against the capital, fucked around, and found out. That's my opinion of this stuff, okay? So, what do we got here? Okay, so yeah, some background on Prigozhin, okay? The FBI returned the orientation of the search of Prigozhin on June 24th. The FBI website returned no results on the search of Prigozhin. Now the orientation is back up in place. Oh, very interesting. So, he was most wanted by the FBI. Huh, interesting. And then on the 24th, okay, so yesterday, it's all gone. All of a sudden, oh, no, now it's all fine. Wanted by the FBI. That was all up there. And what was the picture? Is that the same guy? Do we got the same guy that's right there? Just wondering, okay. Sure looks like our guy. Actually, he kind of looks a little bit better rested in that picture right there. I'm just wondering, does everything seem to start lining up right here? So here's the guy that I was talking about. Somebody who I think is a little bit more credible when it comes to this stuff, because he crosses the T's and dots the I's and makes you confront some very uncomfortable truths about this stuff. So Ryan Dawson, shout out to him. He does some impeccable work. I've known about Ryan for a very, very long time. Haven't had the opportunity to hear him speak, really, because most places outside of the advent of Rumble has banned this motherfucker everywhere. MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, prior to Elon Musk. Like, you couldn't hear this guy talk. All you heard was his name muttered in hushed tones in small circles because he knows his shit. So I seen him opining on this situation, and I thought, I might as well put an ear to this. And he said, actually, his first line on this stuff was, okay, there is no Wagner group. This is fake news created by reports from neurotic Russian Telegram channels. And, okay, Prigozhin is all mouth. The guy's paranoid. The West plays this up. Oh, plays up on his condition. There was no shelling of Wagner camps. Prigozhin is a liar. It is he who is trying to stage a coup, not the other way around. Yeah, kind of seems like that in the aftermath, huh? But that's the first thing that I seen right here. And in fact, if we can go ahead and check the retweets, because I quote tweeted this shit. Is mine going to pop up there? Yeah, this aged perfectly. Not a mystery as to why Ryan is banned everywhere. Because that was the first thing that I seen. Like I said, and then went out for a run and then came back. And then all of a sudden, coup's over, guys. Wait a minute, nothing seems to really check out. So here's Ryan's rundown. In comparison to that of Mario's rundown. I'll just go ahead and edit on the fly as we will, because we're not exclusively on Rumble. And Ryan, like I said, likes to make you confront some very uncomfortable truths. Prigozhin has been complaining and lying for months. He was Ukraine's best copium. He claimed he had no ammo. This wasn't true. Round-the-clock artillery persisted in Bakhmut, which, yeah, that's been reported by a lot of people on the ground for a long time. He acted like they were getting enveloped. That wasn't true. He claimed Ukraine took territories they didn't really take. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, what the fuck was that one city? Oh, it's completely vacant. Oh, the Ukrainians took it back. And then a month later, Russia declares victory. It was on the east side. It was in the north. I can't quite fucking remember. It was in the north part of the Donbass region. There was one. It was a strategic city that, that Russia just basically walked into, furthered their advance. It didn't really leave all that protected. Ukraine came back. It's like, this is great victory, until Russia came back and, and it just swept out all the trash. He claims the casualties are much higher than they really are. Yeah, he's probably that inside guy that, hey guys, trust us. The Russians, they're definitely losing this one. All you need to do is just legitimately run the numbers, take a look at what the casualties are, okay, and then you can properly assess the situation. Listen, like I've said multiple times over when covering this story, I'm ethnically Ukrainian. What would it be? My maternal grandparents came over on the boat. So I guess I'd be third generation Ukrainian. So yeah, theoretically, if I was to have ties to either side of this situation, it would be to the Ukraine side of this stuff. If I was to follow my blood, but you know what I'm following in this case? The facts. What you can corroborate, what's exactly on the ground, instead of just getting caught up in the media hype machine. That's the way that I assess every situation, every news story that comes around. It's like, okay, what the fuck is actually going on? Let's run it against reality. Whoever comes out on top, that's the side that we're going to go with. And it just so happens in this case that Ukraine, if it's not being propped up and being used as a proxy by all of the NATO countries in order to deplete Russia and make them weaker than what they are, they would be done and dusted. This would have been done in a fucking weekend. But just because NATO and the other EU countries want to saber rattle over this stuff in order to try to get their pound of flesh out of Putin, this is just going to continue to go on at, you know, and the only people that end up suffering off of this are the Russians, are the Ukrainians, the people themselves. You know, the people up at the top, you know, your Zelenskys, your Putins, they're going to be fine. Putin's making his trade deals in order to try to prop up his new second world regime with China and with India and the rest of the BRICS countries as well, which is scary in and of itself, but that's another topic for another time. And then Ukrainians, well, the only one who's making out good is somebody who I mentioned a little bit earlier in the form of Zelensky. That's the guy who's lining his pockets, and he's going to be making it. He's going to be getting the fuck out of there the exact same way that the president of Afghanistan. Has anybody heard from that motherfucker ever since that Kabul airport got overtaken? Yeah, that's what I thought. He left with his private jet stacked to the rafters with luxury vehicles and all the cash he could get his grubby little fucking hands on. Anyways, back to this list right here. Number 6, he claimed Wagner camps were shelled. This isn't true. His little Telegram video was fake. Oh, there is no motive for Russia to bomb itself. Yeah, see, that makes zero fucking sense. He claimed he shot down 3 helicopters with no proof. And that's what's been reiterated by Mario a couple of times over. I've seen that because he's had a bunch of different threads. That's just simply the recap one that he had that I pulled up right there. But oh yeah, trust us, the Wagner group, they shot down helicopters, 15 people died, helicopter crashes. Where's the evidence of this stuff? Putin's a war criminal. Thanks, guys. He claimed Russia blew up a bus full of people. No proof. Oh, the exact same way that Russia blew up a very important, what would be a highway, well, it wouldn't be an interstate, but a very important road with a bunch of Russian citizens on it. Yeah, the same way that they also took care of Nord Stream 2 pipeline, right? In CIA-controlled area. Wagner had terrorist cells in Moscow already, and the FSB covered them. Prigozhin is a... I don't have a bell. There we go. Oligarch criminal with a private army. He is going to get his loyalists destroyed. It's a win for Ukraine because they got Wagner destroyed. Much of Wagner surrendered or disobeyed. Yeah, it seems to make sense. Hence why he's going to be in exile in some Belarus dungeon for the rest of his days. Even if all 25,000 attempted a coup, they'd fail. They have no anti-aircraft munitions, or no public support. Russia, because, this is something that Robert Barnes, who we took a look at in the Trump indictment rebuke video from Tuesday, he made mention of this before, and I never really thought about it, because, where do you get all of your opinions? Where are all the opinions of Putin on you foisted on you from? Mass media, like it's just blanket that Putin's a dictator, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you come from. Putin's a bad guy, Putin's a dictator, Putin's a tyrant, blah, 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 blah. And then Barnes went over to Russia, I forget when or whatever, but he looked at the polls as well. It's like, oh, Russians actually like Putin. Like a disproportionate amount of Russians like Putin. And all of these other proxies, whether it's Prigozhin or oh my God, what's that other guy who's in prison because he's like an actual criminal? Oh, he's the leader of the opposition, and Putin just jails his opponents. It's like, okay, that guy's a fucking nutcase, and he got justifiably thrown in jail, but he gets propped up as being this, he's just trying to fight the evil tyrant that's there in the Kremlin. No, that's just not the case. The people of Russia continue to vote for Putin. I know, big shocker, right? And you know what's happening over there? Because nobody wants to talk about the economy there. Russia's flourishing. They have all of their needs taken care of because it's a big fucking country. It's the biggest one by landmass. And now they have all of the economic trade partners that they could possibly need in India and in China. They're going to be fine, guys. And that's why you don't hear about any of those new sanctions coming through, because guess what? The first round back in 2022 didn't fucking work at all. It just ended up hurting everybody else. You've probably seen those memes where it's like, take a cold shower and really stick it to Putin. That's what the EU were doing back when gas was running at about $3 a fucking liter in Germany. Good stuff, guys. You're really just showing Slava Ukrainia type energy, you fucking dorks. But no, Russia's going to be fine. They're still going to be fine. Ukraine, on the other hand, they're landlocked. They're totally fucked. If it's not for NATO pumping them up and helping them out, they would be totally done. And they aren't even member states of NATO. That was one of the conditions when Putin decided to invade all the way back in March of 2022. Stay out of NATO. Quit fucking around with the EU. Take all the Nazis out of your military. Oh, wait, there's no Nazis there. You guys are just all fucked up. Take a look at the Azov battalion. If you don't know, now you know. Much of Wagner's, going back to this and finishing off Ryan's little tweet thread here. Russia now has its own Benedict Arnold. It's not 4D chess to hide. This is not 4D chess to hide troop movements. This is a power-hungry crook whose neuroticism and tendencies for hand-waving panic were exploited by Western intelligence. Yeah, that sure as fuck seems to be exactly what it was, especially given the fact he was on the FBI watch list. Duh. Varg and Stas have been saying to get rid of Prigozhin for months. Yeah, no, seems to check out. Remember, because I also seem to remember that there were all of those calls to, at least media reports that were out there that, all of Putin's generals are, they're disobeying, they're leaving him at any point in time. And that's what ended up happening here, realistically. And now, well, hey, and guess what? One happened, and all of a sudden, it's a coup. No, somebody deserted, made up a bunch of fantastical stories, and was, in fact, dealt with. So, call it whatever you like. Win for Ukraine, win for the West, win for Russia for getting rid of somebody who is just backstabbing them, I guess. I don't really know. I don't really care. Like I said, a little Slavic dispute that ended up getting pumped up by a bunch of news-hungry journalists. Like I said right at the beginning, I'm just wondering what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to this stuff. Because, yeah, God only knows what happened in the interim while everybody was all caught up in the whirlwind that was the Wagner group is about to overthrow Putin. Oh, my God. Fuck off. So that's the update on this stuff. Okay, so what do we have at the end of the day? Not all that much. War's still going on. Your tax dollars, my tax dollars are still going to be going over there to fund stuff. Okay, even with the accounting error, Biden's going to be signing something. He's going to be flipping some cash over there. And Trudeau, if he can get his head out of some tranny ass, you might be able to reach him after Canada Day. I'm sure he's going to be very busy over the weekend. So I got to check the chats here real quick, make sure that we're all doing cool here before we get into part one. Probably be doing part one of the Trump interview when it comes, to that Bret Baier interview. Sorry, I got to take a drink. I'm fucking thirsty as shit, and it's hot as fuck in this room, and rest of this week is, it's supposed to be hot too, but shout out to you guys for turning out to this one. Good turnout over here on Rumble. I just got the Rumble chat pulled up. I see you in here, Ed. See you in here, Meme. And the Meadows, what's up, buddy? So, no, it's great to see you guys. 1000%. Oh, that's why. Okay, everything's so fucked up. Okay, so the Rumble stream, as I have it on the desktop, it was all the way back at the beginning, and it's like, I didn't pull up the feed to share the screen for a second. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so like I said, we got episode, or I guess the first part yeah, the first part of this interview right here, it's 34 minutes long. Like, the entire thing is, it's a full hour long interview, and I think it's very interesting. And shout out to the Carlsonian Rumble channel for screen capping and capturing this, because it's hard to find, because you could find the little bumper pieces and then just the throw to, you know, the different talking heads on Fox News. Oh, what exactly was going on that you had to... And it's like, just shut the fuck up, okay? Never getting down to the actual facts, just going ahead and, oh, stoking anticipation for part 2 that's going to be coming out tomorrow. It's like, just, you fucking disingenuous cunts. I hate you all. Anyways, let me just check the YouTube chats. Oh, sorry. Ugh. Like I said, boy, don't feel all that great, but I'm here. And not queer, but, you know, hey, I'll get used to it, or I'll get over it, or somebody new will be hosting this channel because I'll be fucking dead. I don't know. Hope not, though. That would be terrible. But what do we got in here? Yo, man. Don't overuse. Oh, it's all good. Hey, non sequitur. It's good to see you in here, man. Yeah, making use of the Wii U game. Putin on a green screen. Yeah, it looked like... Didn't that look a little fucking weird? Hey, non sequitur. Oh no, there we got this motherfucker, but it looks real enough. And I know that he had an address, the fuller address, but I don't really think that it's all that fucking serious. But Haruki, 108 when I woke. You're in OKC area, right? Fuck, man. Nah. It's humid. It was supposed to rain here in my neck of the woods, but oh my god, by saying that it's hot in here, okay, just in this, you know, my little studio right here, it's mostly because the computer's been going all day long. So it's about, I guess, Celsius. It's probably about 35 in this room, so whatever that translates to, 90 or some shit like that. So, and it's just all stagnant. I can't run the air conditioner that's over there and have the computer on at the same time. Otherwise, everything just, you know, powers down, and then I end up, you know, down another $500 in order to fix the computer. So I'd rather not. I don't think that I can at least, you know, sweat it out a little bit. But no. So yeah, 108, and especially if it's humid. Ooh, God, that's a spicy meatball. But no, like I said, guys, shout out to you guys for turning out for this one. Let's take a look, because I heard a lot of things, heard a lot of commentary about this interview, about how, oh, Trumpy got stumped by Bret Baier. Oh, Bret was asking all of those hard questions. And whenever I hear the media, just like we just seen with the Russia stuff, come on, man. You guys know exactly what time it is. The media is trying to spin this to their advantage. Don't pay attention to the man behind the glass, or behind the curtain, sorry. All you need to do is just listen to us. In the words of Chris Cuomo, you're not allowed to look at those documents. We're the media. We're different. We can interpret that stuff for you guys. You don't need to look at it. So without further ado, we'll take a look at this. I have it on, I think I got it on 1.25 speed, which should be fine.
Listen, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Oh no, I don't want to play it quite yet. Oh no, I got it on 1. Also want to fix the quality. No, looks like, well, that's the quality that we're going to get. It's not too bad. It's actually, it looks pretty good on the capture. So just for me on my screen, it's a little bit blown out. But as long as we can hear everybody, that's all I care about. So without further ado,
You know, I've asked this question, the same first question, to all the candidates I've interviewed this year, and that is this. What do you think is the most important issue facing the country right now?
So many, so important, but we have to straighten out the economy. We're going to do that through inflation. We have to straighten out our border, where we have millions of people pouring in, and we're going to do that very quickly. I had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the most unsafe, I think, anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like it. We have to strengthen up our military. Giving $85 billion to Afghanistan didn't exactly help, but we have to strengthen up our military, get the woke out of our military, and basically respect all over the world. We don't have it anymore. We had tremendous respect 3 years ago. We don't have respect anymore. They don't listen to us. They don't care about us. They just don't do what we want them to do and what they have to do, especially since we make life very good for many countries, and we have to get that respect back. And if we don't, we've got some big problems.
We asked viewers to send in questions on social media. We had a ton of responses. Here's one of them. Erica tweets this. What is the first thing you will do to turn this country around if you get elected?
Well, I do two simultaneously. I'd start drilling. We have the most liquid gold under our feet, oil, than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, and that's going to...
I want to know, okay? I want to know how much Canada has, because we got a lot. We got a lot and a bunch of different techniques that we could use, folks. So, okay, so we got the fracking, we got the oil sets, we got so much oil that's up here as well. So, if you want to finish that Keystone XL pipeline, that would be great. You don't need to drill. All you need to do is just, let pipe fitters do pipe fitter things, and you'd have a whole lot of oil real fucking quickly. Just saying. It'd help both of us out.
Going to bring down the pressure on inflation, and we're going to have very little inflation very soon. We had virtually none when I was president. And second, that closed up the border, because we can't have prisoners and people from mental institutions coming into our country. They're emptying out from all over the world, not just...
We can't have them coming across our border, and we can't have them in the White House anymore, folks. We just can't have that.
From the 3 or 4 countries we talk about, the neighboring countries all over the world, they're coming into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, Bret, and we have to stop it. And they are emptying out their prisons, and they're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums into the U.S.
They're not sending their best. A wise man once said that before. Folks, they're not sending their best across that border.
And we're not a dumping ground. We'd stop it immediately and get a lot of the bad ones out. We'd get them out very quickly.
Fox viewers were able to watch your speech here at Bedminster.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
Oh, that was the one right after the Miami indictment. Okay. Yeah, okay. Seen some clips from that one. Looked pretty spicy. Actually, the most spicy thing was the likes of, Jake Tapper, Rachel Maddow just going, oh, we can't let him talk on there. Can't let him talk. Which was the exact same tactic they were running after they realized that his poll numbers continued to go up and up when he was doing those daily coup briefings. It's so funny, man. They just don't want to let him speak because they know exactly what happens. The man is popular when you hear his words. Not so popular, or at least they can trick a couple of people when they tell you what he says. Quote farm him and just take him out of context. Then he seems like that orange man is bad. Hence the tank for this week, because we'll at least be able to watch the second half of this. Maybe on Tuesday. Yeah, we'll see.
Freedom.
The day of your arrest and...
Can you believe it?
Federal
arrest by my opponent.
Appearance in federal court in Miami.
Right.
And your explanation of the Presidential Records Act and your defense, how you and others believe that applies here. Obviously, other legal experts, your Attorney General Bill Barr, they do not think that applies to handling classified national security and defense materials. But that...
Yeah, that's wonderful and fantastic. Bill Barr, who has always been so right about everything, and a bunch of other attorney generals. Well, that's nice. I too can appeal to authority. Robert Barnes cited a handful of different constitutional objections, let alone what's actually in the indictment itself. But oh no, guys, this sounds serious. Why would they ever set new precedent? It's just like Trump is really, really bad, so we have to go after him. Not somebody who has a much more slam dunk case against him, like say, I don't know, Hillary Clinton. But you know what happens when you have information that can lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton.
Legal battle aside, I just want to ask you a couple of specifics. Why did you have this very sensitive national security defense documents, like the war plans for a strike on Iran?
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed it up and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. And by the way, when Bill Barr, who's, a coward, Bill Barr was a coward. Bill Barr didn't do what he was supposed to do. I fired him, and he has...
Well, when the man's is right... Great
hatred, and that's okay, because some people do, and some people
resigned.
love me very much. He didn't resign. I asked him, give me a letter immediately, because he didn't have the courage to go after so many different things, and you and I have discussed that before, but he was a coward. Yeah. And he obviously doesn't like me too much, and there are a lot of people that don't, and there are a lot of people that feel just the opposite.
Did Bill Barr have a new book to sell? It seems to not only be a pattern, but something that I think he did. I got to check that out.
Specific on the
Let me
documents.
just explain.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of things in there. I will go through those boxes. I have to go through those boxes. I take out personal things. As far as the levels and all, everything was declassified because I had the right to declassify. You want to talk about a mess? Take a look at Biden, where he's got 1,850 boxes. He has boxes stored in Chinatown in D.C. He has boxes stored at Penn Center, and he has boxes under his Corvette and around his Corvette sitting in a garage for years where it was very seriously classified.
Yeah. It kind of seems like they caught him on a technicality, the more that I think about this, because it's something that I think about a reasonable amount, because I know that the election season is going to be quite hectic. But, okay, Trump took everything from the White House when he moved out. That's why everything was so haphazardly stored, and the reason that he wants to suss through everything. So did he take all of everything that he took from the White House, whether it be, newspaper clippings or, framed pictures of Time magazines, just throw them in the boxes. We're going to get the fuck out of here, because he was still fighting all of those election challenges nearly all the way until the turn of the new year. So, okay, didn't really have a lot of time to, probably move everything out, because there was still a whole lot of moving parts even after January 6th, when everything was basically finalized, even though you could argue it was already finalized beforehand, because, as Time magazine likes to call it, the fortification was, it was fairly thorough. And given the fact that YouTube's finally changed its policies, I don't know why we need to talk in code anymore after, he was summarily fucked over by the Democratic establishment, the voting systems that they had in place in multiple different states, something that Kari Lake is doing an excellent job of uncovering in Arizona. If you haven't been paying attention to that, I would say that's a good place to dive in, at least a little bit if you're interested. But yeah, Trump just put everything in boxes. Got the fuck out, okay? And some of them maybe at some point in time are classified. Obviously, he has plenary authority in order to declassify whatever the fuck he wants, because he is goddamn president. Oh, sorry, Bill Barr, just got to take a look at the Presidential Records Act, where a president, if he grabs something, hey, I really like your mouse that's over there. It's got the nice lights, okay? It's got the rainbow lights that looks like brand new technology, folks. You know what? I know that the military is working on something that's very close to what you have right there, Todd, but you know what, I'm gonna go ahead, because I think that would be great technology for the average American to have. I think that would be something that we could declassify. Let's do it right now. Declassify. See, look, it works perfectly just like that. That seems to be the case. That's what's been decided. There was another lawsuit or some shit like that also, I think that was in conjunction with Bill Clinton. I'd have to go back and listen to Barnes talk about that, but that ruling has already been decided. But, Bill, the old neocon Barr, he was the fucking AG for HW, which lets you know that Trump had some unsavory characters around him, just making suggestions. Something that, at least with the campaign that we see right now, seems to have rectified that situation. First and foremost, not letting Ivanka and Jared around anymore. That was a good day when he announced that.
I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing. In fact, the New York Times of all had a story just the other day that the only way NARA could ever get this back, would be please, could we have it back?
And they
please,
asked for that.
Because they have no. We
they
were
did
talking.
Ask for it.
No, and
they said,
I gave
"Can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?"
and we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
which
back.
they've never done before.
Right. And
Yeah, we want this document in one of the boxes that's over there. It's like, well, I gotta go through this stuff. No, we need it now. It's like, just fucking chill. We'll go through it. Okay, we're sending the FBI over. They'll be here tomorrow. The fuck are you doing?
but why not just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes I want to go through.
Hey, guys, there's a shirt in your closet that the DOJ needs. They just need it. Not going to tell you which one. So, okay, just to be safe, just send your entire wardrobe. It's not like you need it or anything. You can just get some new clothes. That's fine. We just need it back. We just need to store it over here. Okay? Can you just do that? That's the equivalent of what they're trying to do there.
Through the boxes and get all my personal things out. Yeah. I don't want to hand that over to NARA yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but according to the indictment, you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things. Golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes. There were many things. I would say much more, not that I know of, but everything was declassified. And Biden didn't have the right to do that because he wasn't president. Nor did Mike Pence, by the way, have the right to do that because he wasn't president.
Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton. Yeah, no, exactly. The list goes on and on. But that's all right. We can go ahead and take a look at what their indictments look like. Oh, right.
I'm not going to belabor this.
No, but when you look at this, other presidents, when they leave, they take the papers. They have thousands and thousands. Obama had it. Nixon had it. Carter had it. The Bushes had it.
These are super sensitive national security documents.
I'm sure you'll see real super sensitive that Biden has, because Biden has far more than anybody's ever kept.
How is it that... Okay, cool. So even looking through the indictment, he's got all these secrets. Which ones? Those secrets. Cool stuff that you have right there.
And he turned them over when asked.
No, he didn't. He still hasn't given the 1,850 boxes that's stored at the University of Delaware. In fact, they're fighting them in court, and they're fighting them. And
but he opened up for them to look at it.
Excuse me. The boxes from China.
they still, we looked at that beforehand, okay? NARA had open access to go into Mar-a-Lago whenever they wanted to and didn't want to.
He didn't turn him over. He sent him up to his lawyer in Boston to look at before they handed him over.
And there are special counsel that's looking at that, and we'll see what comes out of it. But I do want to just end with this. I don't want to dwell on it.
Yeah,
but
you can
according
imagine.
to the indictment,
Yeah.
you were...
I don't want to dwell on this. Oh, okay, cool. So when's the apparent stumping come? Because it looks like Trump handled that exceptionally well by just saying, hey, no, just take a look at these corollaries right here. I don't want to belabor the point. No, because you get fucking owned on it.
You're at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were recorded saying that you had a document detailing a plan of attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president. The Iran attack plan. You remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you said some things on tape. You got any evidence that that was actually the fucking document? Because the burden of proof is, last time I checked, on the state.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know, this is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording
and
saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. You know, this is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this on tape
it says just the opposite.
that you can't
And let me
declassify it,
just
so
tell you,
why have it?
Oh, you know what else? Nobody's outside of the grand jury and the special prosecutor. Nobody's heard those tapes, by the way. So we're just taking them at their word. That's what's on there.
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this. Okay. I have a document right here that's going to expose all of my secrets. And you know what? Hey, that's top secret classified information that, you know what? Hey, it's also got some information on here from my family as well that, you know what, they'd have to sign off on it, but I can show you this right here. It's a Kleenex.
Not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said. You didn't declassify it.
I said no. I said I couldn't.
Could have
but that wasn't a
declassified it.
document, Brett. There was no document.
Brett.
That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying what the indictment says.
Well,
the record.
Yeah, the indictment says that. Okay, and again, is that taken out of context? Is this another one of these quote mining type situations? Sure seems like that.
And the people in the room who
These
testified.
people are very dishonest people. They're thugs.
Yeah.
They're thugs. If you look at what they've done to other people, what they've done to and overturned in the U.S. Supreme Court, these are thugs.
The
These are
suggestion
dishonest
was that
people.
you wanted this as evidence that the military, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, had preemptively sent you plans for a possible attack on Iran and that you didn't order that to happen. That's the
I
suggestion.
never ordered it to happen, no.
But that's why you want.
Oh, that's that Milley situation. We went over that in the previous live stream. Milley was the one to go into Iran. Trump was the one that's like, no, we're not going to do that. Why? Well, because dem boys want us to go into Iran.
The document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley. Milley, frankly, was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack with as my leader would be Milley. That I tell you.
All right,
But I think
Why did you fire him then? Why did you fire him? Oh my God, those are congressionally appointed positions, but okay.
Think on this. There are 31 documents listed. Nuclear capabilities of foreign countries, related to military capabilities of foreign countries, intelligence briefings on foreign countries. Why do you want to hold on to those documents after you're president?
I don't say I do.
You just didn't know what was in the boxes?
discussing with NARA, giving them back. All of a sudden, we've got raided, which is a violation of my, Fourth Amendment rights. They raided my home, and they came in and they took things. We were discussing this
Somebody's
with NARA.
been in his
Look
ear.
at Obama, look at Clinton. Clinton took documents. Clinton took tapes in his socks.
Interview.
Oh shit, this came out after Barnes was talking his shit. Okay.
You know what
the
happened?
story.
The Clinton socks case.
I do know it well.
And it basically said the president has every right to keep whatever he wants, and that includes me.
And the
Yeah,
question
that's
is
a
whether
Supreme
not a
Court
criminal
case.
case. Let me
highly
tell you,
classified government national security documents fall in that
I
category,
think-
and that battle is going to be fought in the courts.
It's already been fought.
Yeah.
There's a decision strongly that you can keep. But I wouldn't have kept. But they raided my house. They came in and raided. We were discussing, having very good discussions with NARA, a radical left group, by the way. And all of a sudden, my house got raided.
Do you know if you still have any highly sensitive government
No,
documents?
I don't have anything, no.
Okay.
But what
No,
I'm concerned
shut
about,
up. I
they took
don't have
everything,
anything.
right? I don't know what they took. They could be stuffing it. I don't know what they put in there. And we wanted to be there when they were taking. They wouldn't let anybody in the room. They've never treated a president like this.
And that's fair for you to point out. I guess what this points to is this recording where you said you could have declassified it when you were president. You didn't.
No,
It's
could
still
have when I
classified.
was president, but there's no document there. Those were newspaper articles.
Okay.
They were copies of articles and magazines. There was no document there. And I couldn't have done it after I was out.
This is what you said in 2016 about handling this.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information.
Okay, cool. And again, you haven't really proved the otherwise on that. Okay. It's not like, oh, we got him. He's such a hypocrite. Prove it. Fucking prove it. That's all that's up there as well. See some guys. I was trying to go through the chat here for a second, so this is a good enough place to stop. Just for a second. We're obviously going to watch the rest of this interview, but shout out Ed. Always too generous. I really do appreciate for the 10. Misty Dawn. Get better and hope to see more live streams. Should be going live on Tuesday. I'm going to try to stick to the schedule. That's 1,000% true. But yeah, yeah, we'll do something. Thinking probably go back to a little bit of a mishmash on Tuesday, but yeah, no, I like doing the live streams, and this turnout, especially for Sunday, just in the middle of no time, whatever. No, shout out to you guys for turning out for this one. But yeah, no, and Manu, good to be in here, and Rookie, the last comment that you dropped in the YouTube chat had me dying there for a second. That shit's fucking hilarious, but holy fuck, yo man, you know your boy's huge on Rumble, apparently. Holy fuck, shout out to you guys. But yeah, back to this for a second.
No one will be above the law. We also need to fight this battle by collecting intelligence and then protecting our classified secrets.
Exactly.
We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified.
Your Vice President Mike Pence says he's, quote, deeply troubled by what's in the indictment. And he says, quote,
Oh my God, Mike Pence is deeply troubled every day that he wakes up.
the indictment contains serious charges and I cannot defend what's alleged.
Mike Pence had documents that were classified.
And he turned them over.
No, he didn't turn them over. He got caught. His lawyers found some documents, and then he turned.
Yeah, good point. Good point. He did turn him back over, but yeah, no, he didn't. That's what's so fucked up about the situation. He didn't know that he had it. Oh, you have these. Okay. It's a distinction without a difference, but it is important to point out as well. You had 37 documents. I was fucking president for 4 years, for fuck's sakes. And cut me some slack here, fuckers. Do you see all these boxes that are down there? Okay, same thing. It's like, okay, realistically, unless you're trading them and selling them, it's a big fucking deal. It's not like Trump was, you know, he's somebody who actually gives a fuck about the country, contrary to media's opinion. And it's like, it would be a huge betrayal for anybody to take those, but that's not what we're dealing with here. It's at best a little bit of an oversight, at worst a witch hunt, which is starting to lead a lot more in that direction.
Turned him over. Why did he have them? He shouldn't be saying that because he had classified documents. And immediately they said, oh, that's okay. And I suppose it's going to be okay with Biden, too, even though he has them in Chinatown, even though he has them in Delaware.
I think he just likes to say any opportunity that Trump has to say China, he's going to take it.
And probably 100 times more than I have.
So you're not worried about this case?
Based on the law, zero. Yeah. Zero.
Yeah, based on the it's Miami. That's about the only thing that he definitely has going for him. Not too sure about the size of the jury, but it's supposed to be pulling from actually a fairly unbiased jury pool, at least. Some from Broward, some from Miami-Dade. So it's going to be fine-ish as long as everybody's doing their job on the legal team, which we know Trump's propensity to pick real fucking dorks when it comes to lawyers. Jenna Ellis.
Presidential Records Act, plus the Clinton case, case, which was won by Clinton as president because he took tapes of leaders in his socks.
Yep.
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. And every good lawyer has said it, and you've seen that. Every good lawyer has said that.
Obviously, there are others who push back. And
this was a weaponization of politics. This was a weaponization of the White House. This was a horrible thing. A candidate that's leading, I'm leading Biden by a lot.
Yes.
They go out and they weaponize. This is a horrible thing that was done.
Well, let's talk about the politics.
It's never been done.
Let's talk about the politics. You're facing, obviously, a number of potential charges in other cases, and I know you've said that you believe that they're political witch hunts.
They're all terrible.
But what do you say to the voter who really liked many of your policies?
They still do.
But they can't handle the scandals or the controversies or the name-calling or the vitriol. What do you say?
Well, fuck off then. Oh my God. Oh, it's just, oh, I like Trump, but I don't like any of the Trump baggage. Well, okay, listen, then you're a Daily Wire subscriber, and I don't know how to reach you outside of that. Chances are you aren't watching this to begin with, so that's totally fine. But okay, if you could just be a little bit less you, if you could be a little bit more controllable, if you'd just be a little bit more presidential, you'd appeal to the same people that spurned you the previous 2 times. Like, just fuck off. You won in 2016 by being the most bombastic version of yourself, and then yeah, just listen to the dinosaur media that's a bleeding relevance and bleeding viewers. Yeah, those are the people that you want to take fucking opinions from. The people who think they just look at Trump and they see bully. It's because that archetype right there was the person who got the bitch in high school, is the person that stuffed you in the locker for being a fucking dork. That's the same thing that Ben Shapiro sees every single time he sees the Trump speech. Hey man, that guy's the political kiss of death. R.I.P. Ron DeSantis' career, but we also could have said that like a month and a half ago.
Say to that voter who's worried that that all leads to a general election loss.
So based on the polls, I'm leading Biden by a lot. Based on the polls, I'm leading all of the Republicans by a lot, by 40 points.
Excuse me.
And more. Right now, I have the best polls I've ever had. People see this stuff for what it is. It's a political witch hunt. It's a continuation.
More independent voters watch Fox News than any other TV source.
A lot less than used to watch it.
They do watch. Those voters usually make...
Yo! Oh, we got to run that back. That was so fucking brutal.
Continuation.
More independent voters watch Fox News than any other TV source.
A lot less than used to watch it.
Fucking...
They do watch. Those voters usually make up all the difference.
Why would they leave that in
the election? And so to the female independent voter in the suburbs,
they're never going to vote for him anyways. Okay. Oh, that got me good. No, they're never going to vote for Trump unless their husband votes for Trump. But how do you reach single mothers who are dependent on the government for all of the fucking handouts? You can't as a Republican. All you can do is just, hey, just go out there and show that when you create opportunity, things prosper. That's about, try to sell it to their kid that maybe, here's a better opportunity so you don't have to be stuck on government assistance. Then I guess you kind of end up running a bit of a problem by offending those chicks. But again, you're just trying to appeal to a base that's never going to like you. All you can do, and this is something that I haven't seen from a politician outside of Trump, is actually just try to appeal to their base. Okay, instead of just trying to reach everybody else, at least on the Republican side. Democrats are exceptionally good at that stuff. Take a look at Biden, take a look at Hillary Clinton, okay? Just continue to pander. For the Republican, it's always... That's why I like to point it out every time that I see it. Republicans are just so... They lack self-confidence at such a high degree because they're always trying to get approval and acceptance from everybody who's just intrinsically going to hate them to begin with. Trump, on the other hand, he's like, no, these are the people that fuck with me. Fine. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to make them laugh. We're going to make everybody else look stupid in the process. And if they want to fuck with us, then hey, man, it's a big old party. But if you want to hop on the Trump train, you're a Trump fan. That's the way that it is.
Who struggled with family financing because of inflation. She's now against Biden, disapproves of Biden, but wasn't with you in 2020, and so far is a hard no for you in 2024. But what do you say to that?
Looking at the right polls.
What do you say to that female independent suburban voter who feels that way, to win her back?
First of all, I won in 2020 by a lot, okay? Let's get that straight. I won in 2020.
You know that this,
and if you look at all of the tapes, if you look at everything that you want to look at, you take a look at Truth to Vote, where they have people stuffing the ballot boxes on tapes, or let's go to recent. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go to recent. FBI Twitter. Let's go to recent. The 51 agents. All corrupt stuff, Brett.
Understand about the Hunter Biden.
No, but
all
that's cheating
fair
on the
things.
election.
But
that's cheating on the election.
You lost the 2020 election.
Brett.
Pennsylvania F curve, Michigan poster board on the ballot counting windows and every other fuck shit that happened there. Georgia with the Pelican cases full of votes that were underneath the tables that they didn't start to count until everybody else was ushered out. Wisconsin nursing homes, Arizona taking, I'm sure they're probably still tallying votes from 2020. They just finished up with 2018. I think I heard about that, recently. But and Nevada, well, hey man, if you can vote from the middle of nowhere too, like from underneath overpasses in the middle of empty fields, you can go ahead and you can be a Democrat candidate as well. There's so much fuck shit that happened and nobody was allowed to look at it. And whenever proper lawsuits were brought, well, guess what? You filed this too late, or you didn't file it early enough. Latches and standing. Just the wonderful sounds that you would hear from all of the legal challenges in 2020.
You take a look at all of the stuffed ballots. You take a look at all of the things, including things like the 51 intelligence agents.
There were recounts in all of the swing states. There was not significant.
It's swing states, like in Georgia. That's one that I know fairly intricately. I remember doing quite a few videos on that as well, which is going to become relevant whenever that indictment drops. I'd imagine that's probably going to be soon-ish. But, okay, yeah, there was recounts in every single state in the districts where it didn't matter. And then even still, what was that? Was that DeKalb County in Georgia where, it's like, oopsie daisy, there was a USB stick full of Trump votes and we just magically missed that on the first time around. But that's all right. Biden still won Georgia. Unfucking believable. But yeah, there was recounts everywhere. It's like, how about in the places where it matters? No, that's fine.
We're trying to get recounts, real recounts, not just numbers of votes.
Widespread corruption. There was not a sense of that. There were lawsuits, more than 50.
Just take a look at all of the template signature matches that are out there, and it just goes to show. And it's like, John Fetterman was voting in multiple different places.
50 of them by your lawyers, some in front of judges that you appointed.
Look at Wisconsin.
That came out with no evidence.
Wisconsin has practically admitted it was rigged. Other states are doing the same right now, and it's continuing on.
There have been reviews of every potential case of voter fraud in 6 battleground states, and they found fewer than 475.
How do you see? Okay, this is where somebody could spin this. It's like, take a look at all of this evidence that we have. These are the same tired talking points that have been walking out for the past 3 years. Trump is raising valid concerns that were never looked at because, hey, if you looked at it, you're an insurrectionist, you're a bad person. But when they ran it back, like Maricopa County, remember when the cyber ninjas looked through everything as well? It popped into my head. But yeah, all of those signature matches, how many thousands of votes there were at least compromised, if not worse? And like I said, did a few videos on that, some of which ended up getting me a strike, but now we're free to talk about nursing homes in Wisconsin. The amount of ballot harvesting that happened right there would have 2 or 3 times over flipped to the margin of victory. Just saying.
You know why? Because they didn't look at the right things.
Okay, are you going
They were counting ballots, not the authenticity of the ballot. The ballots were fake ballots. This was a very
Yeah, just no signature matches. That's what Trump's getting at when it comes to that stuff. It's like, okay, cool. If you go ahead and count, okay, I got my mouse, got the keyboard, got the microphone. I count 3 ballots. It's like, those aren't ballots. They're ballots. That's what you get with those recounts that are out there. Counting the fuck shit over and over again, and you still come out with the same results. Well, you're still counting all the fuck shit. So, of course, that's what you're going to be getting.
Are you going to go? This is how you're going to tell that independent suburban woman voter?
No, we're off to winning an election, and I think.
Yeah, and nobody. Terrible pause frame. Sorry, Don. But no, that was one of those things. Just about in every single poll that's out there, everybody just kind of wants to move on from 2020, including Trump, because when you listen to him at his rallies, very rarely, outside of just a couple of "it was rigged," he doesn't really bring up 2020 anymore. It's just kind of, okay, Biden sucks. We were doing good things back in the cut. We can do that real quick because I know how to do that. So, yeah, we could just go in there and turn the ignition on and make the economy run again. It'd be pretty great if you just vote for me. So, yeah, he doesn't bring up 2020, except for when he's asked about it like this, and then he's got to defend himself.
We're winning very well. I got a poll just recently. I have it here.
No, I know. And I watched the numbers.
I've shown you every poll. I showed you. We were leading by tremendous numbers, and we're leading with women, huh?
You know polls change. I mean, they changed in 2016 to your favor.
I thought I was doing well from the beginning, but I now know Washington probably better than anybody. I know the good ones and the bad ones, and we will have really great, strong people. I already know who they are, but we will have really great, strong people.
Okay. In 2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most serious people.
Well, I did do that. And we had tremendous look. We had the best economy we've ever had. The world has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against.
Okay, I think this is the part where it's like, you got big stumped on this one. All right, let's see.
Yeah. Your ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you.
By the way, here's my prediction. If Ron DeSantis hopefully doesn't end up getting the nomination, Nikki Haley's going to be his VP, 100%. I cannot see a different conclusion than that.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said he's not supporting you. You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton.
you don't get the nod from John Bolton, I would consider that a recommendation in and of itself. That's the reverse endorsement right there. Oh no, we don't get the sign-on from a bunch of different war hawks.
He's not supporting you either. You mentioned Attorney General Bill Barr says you shouldn't be president again.
Okay.
Calls you the consummate narcissist and troubled man. You recently called...
Sounds like a bitter beta male. Beta male, beta. Look at that dumpy, droopy dog. Beta.
Barr, a gutless pig. Your second defense secretary is not supporting you. Called you irresponsible. This week, you and your White House called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain. Called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock. And your first defense secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general. You called your White House press secretary, Kayleigh milquetoast.
Oh no, that's so terrible. How could you, why would you ever go after a girl? And it's like, well, hey man, she repeated some stupid fucking polls and he went after her by saying, yeah, she's milquetoast. She's going to go wherever whatever the name at the bottom of the check says, that's who she's going to end up supporting. Hey man, she was good in her job as a press secretary, and way more attractive than anything that Biden's put up in front of the podium. But hey man, at the end of the day, it's like nobody watches Fox News for the Fox News chicks because of their intellect. Leave it at that.
And multiple times you've referred to your transportation secretary, Elaine Chao, as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife.
What's wrong? None of those statements were untrue. They were fucking hilarious. None of them were untrue, but this is apparently the big gotcha moment.
So, why did you hire all of them in the first place?
Because I hired 10 to 1 that were fantastic. We had a great economy. We had phenomenal people in charge of the economy. We had phenomenal people in the military. I'm not a fan of Milley, and I'm not a fan of certain of the television people. But I knocked out ISIS. I defeated ISIS. They said, Mattis, it would take 3 years, and I don't think we can do it. I did it in a period of like 4 weeks.
There's a lot of people who praise you for your policies. I just said that.
That's true. Well, I mean, you just went through a list. But don't forget, for every one you say, I had 10 that love us. And one thing happens, I find, with me that I think didn't happen so much with other presidents. Call it glamorous time, call it whatever. But with me, the Times, the Washington Post, various people, even Fox, because, I'm no great fan of Fox anymore. They fought me very hard. Well, you've got to get your word out somehow, right? They fought me very hard in 2016, very much the way they're fighting me now, very, very hard. And I won. Then they became very nice. But I will tell you that something happens. When people leave, they can like me very much. I have this woman named Alyssa Farah. She said the greatest things, long after she left, he's the greatest president we've ever had, unbelievable, unbelievable. Then The View offered her a contract. But obviously, only if she changed her views. And all of a sudden, she can say negative things. Money gets offered to people, and some people change.
But there's people on that list that are not taking money. That said that
well,
not
for the most part, they are. Barr did a book. Barr was a coward.
Hey, I actually didn't know
that. Name people that
you
name. For every person you name, I can name 20 people that loved the administration. And maybe more importantly, the voters loved the administration.
Yeah, even some of the people that got fired or quit or something like that. Seb Gorka is a great example of that. Both of the Miller guys. Jason's kind of a Hunter Biden aspirer, but Stephen Miller, great guy that was there as well. And yeah, there was a bunch of other people in the cabinet that didn't get named as well. So maybe that 10 to 1. Maybe it's because the media cherry picks everything that Trump does. Like, you can take a look at the list of resignations, and they started fast and they were furious on the Biden administration. But hey, and nobody says anything about the terrible people that surround Biden. They're just mostly focused on Biden himself.
The voters are dying to get back to it, Brett. The voters are tired of being laughed at all over the world. We're run by a fool. We're run by a man that doesn't have a clue.
I want to talk about foreign policy, but just to leave this, you have former senior advisor Steve Cortes saying it's going to be tough for you to get the best and the brightest because of some of the name-calling of people who left.
Well,
so what do you say to that?
Cortes is a nice person, but I didn't give him the job he wanted because I didn't think he was qualified. Then he went over to...
Mr. Trump, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Stop being so mean to all of these established Washington swab creatures.
Sanctimonious' camp. I didn't give him the job. So I'd probably say the same kind of thing if I wouldn't get a job, if somebody wants a job. And a lot of the people that you mentioned there, they didn't get the job. A couple of them weren't made permanent. I didn't want to make them permanent because I didn't think they were good enough. Now, during the course of that 4 years, I know the best people. Remember this. We took out ISIS. We developed Space Force. I rebuilt the military. I got the largest tax cuts in history. I got the largest regulation cuts in history. I did right to try so that people don't have to die without a chance. We could use space-age medical knowledge, and we have the greatest labs in the world. I did all of these things and much, much more. Nobody's ever seen it like that. One other thing. Russia would have never invaded Ukraine. China would never be talking about even the concept of going into Taiwan. Would have never happened. I was getting out of Afghanistan. We would have gotten out through dignity and strength. Instead, it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Okay. Like I said, I heard about the part where Bret Baier apparently stumped Trump. That was apparently the point in time. Oh, he listed all of these things that he said about his former advisors, and then Trump. Oh, he had this look on his face like he was just. Oh, he was so embarrassed about what he did. Did we miss something? I know I'm not feeling all that great and a little bit dizzy, but I think we pretty much got the fact that didn't happen.
These are all great things, and people want them back.
Mr. President, stand by if you would. Please join us after this break for the second part of the interview tonight.
Nobody cares. Oh, that's
Welcome
the
back,
second.
Bedminster and special report, joined again by the 45th President of the United States.
We do not support Taiwan independence.
Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Chinese President.
Okay, that was completely taken out of context, by the way. The overarching one China policy has been the standing policy of the United States since 1970 flurf. So yeah, Blinken reiterating that, we support one China. There's no such thing as an independent Taiwan, even though that there's obvious military support. And remember, Nancy Pelosi famously went over there about a year and a half ago. Yeah, so it's very much that it's a standing policy, but then at the side, it's like, yeah, we support Taiwan, sort of, kind of, because we get all of our chips there. But now we're starting to build our own microchip plants in the United States. So might see, that whole one China policy, and then taking the other side of that. It's just like, it's been our policy the entire time. So for anybody to come out and spin that, because you've seen that on the conservative side a fair few different times, that, oh my God, Blinken just gave the green light to China. It's like, it's not exactly fair, guys. Come on. But I'm sure Fox News probably had around-the-clock coverage. Oh, did you see what Secretary of State Antony Blinken had to say?
Xi Jinping in Beijing. You've been very critical towards Biden administration policy toward China. Today, Blinken said this: "We do not support Taiwan independence." Should Taiwan be independent?
So if I tell you an answer, it's going to hurt me in negotiations on the assumption that I win.
Yeah, exactly, because like I outlined right there, it's like that's the United States policy, is that there's a one China policy. So if Trump is to come in and say that, I'm just going to go ahead and renege that 50-year standing policy, that doesn't put him in the best negotiating position.
But I have a very good relationship with President Xi. After COVID came in, I sort of didn't want the relationship, and I sort of ended the relationship after having made one of the greatest trade deals ever made, including USMCA, Mexico, Canada. But I made deals with Japan. I made deals with many countries. We had the worst trade deals. Now we have the best trade deals. By the way, USMCA, Canada, and Mexico, it's so good because we replaced NAFTA, which everybody said, you even said, be impossible to end it. I got it terminated by Congress, actually, and got USMCA. It's so good now that Mexico and Canada,
I'm seeing a conversation on the YouTube side of things. Do you guys want a dedicated RFK Jr. stream? That one might be, I can make it work on YouTube, but if you guys want that, just let me know, because I see some people going back and forth. And I like RFK. He's kind of softened some of his positions. He's a bit of a gun grabber, but he apparently walked that back a little bit. And I want to see the debates between him and Biden a lot, almost more than I want to see Trump on the debate stage roasting everybody else on the Republican side. But if you guys want a dedicated RFK Jr. stream, I can make that happen in the near future. Just let me know.
A long time ago. But Mexico and Canada, it's so good they want to renegotiate the deal. I hope they don't do that. I hope we don't agree to that. But I made the best trade deal with China, $50 billion a year, where they have to buy from us. I got $28 billion from China to give to our farmers because our farmers were treated badly.
So would you keep the China tariffs on?
I would keep the China tariffs.
What would take them off?
No, I keep them on, absolutely. It's a tremendous power thing. You keep them on. China was dying over the tariffs. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Mm-hmm. No other president has ever taken 10 cents. I watched Gordon Chang the other night say the only one that was tough on China, so tough that frankly he couldn't believe it, was Donald Trump.
So the question is, would you, if China invaded Taiwan, would you go to war to defend Taiwan? I don't want to say that because that hurts me in negotiations with regard to President Xi. Now, he knows what I do. And by the way, for 4 years, they didn't invade Taiwan, and they never even talked about it. You'll find very few discussions about it. And for 4 years, Russia never even thought about it because Putin and I had a very good relationship, business relationship, but I got along with him and he got along with me despite the phony Russia witch hunt, which made it much more difficult. Having that phony Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton witch hunt for 2.5 years going on made it much more difficult despite that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen some conversations on both sides as to the Adam Schiff to censure or not to censure argument. And it's interesting. I would just say impeach Schiff, but We'll see. But yeah, him pushing all the Russiagate stuff and then celebrating, oh, Trump finally got indicted for nothing that you've been pushing over the past 5 years, you bug-eyed fuck.
He knew he could not go into Ukraine. I told him very strongly, you can't do it. And if you do it, it's going to be a problem. And he never did.
I want to talk about Ukraine, but just to end on China. This weekend, President Biden, speaking of that Chinese spy balloon, said that
I think it was more embarrassing than it was intentional.
What do you think about that?
I think it's such a stupid
What would you have
thing.
done?
He doesn't know what he's... They wouldn't have ever had a spy balloon if I was president. There wouldn't be a spy balloon over our country. That spy balloon was going right over our nuclear sites, taking pictures. And we killed it after it was leaving. It was going back home to China, wherever it was going. But we shot it down over the ocean after it had done all of its work. You know, they don't keep it on the balloon and then you pick it up. That stuff is sent back to China instantaneously as it's taken. So a statement like that is so stupid. They've taken pictures of every one of our nuclear facilities in the Midwest, where we have a lot, where they know better than anybody that we have a lot.
And you're saying that wouldn't happen under you?
They wouldn't have ever done it, no. They wouldn't have ever done it, no. President Xi and I had a very strong relationship, just like I did with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Look, when I took office, everyone assumed we were going to war with North Korea, including President Obama. He said, the single biggest problem we have in the world today is North Korea. I said, have you called him? And I got sort of a mixed answer. The answer is he did call, but Kim Jong-un wouldn't see them, okay? Tough guy, smart guy, tough guy. I got along with him, and there was no threat. I did an amazing job. That would have been a war. If Obama would have stayed or if Hillary Clinton would have been in,
I think we all take for granted just how tough the relations between North Korea and the Obama administrations were all the way back at the end of the Obama regime. Hillary Clinton definitely would have tried to rekindle the Korean War, but that's not even talked about anymore.
a little bit longer, if they would have extended his term miraculously. But if Hillary Clinton would have, you would have had a nuclear war with North Korea. And by the way, you're possibly very close right now. This is the most dangerous time in the history of our country. You're possibly very close to having a nuclear war with Russia.
All right, let's talk about Russia. You said you would end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours.
Right.
Your GOP opponents, well, they don't believe that. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said this. Despite how ridiculous...
Bruh, you're going to Chris Christie for comment? Like, just fuck off. You know, Krispy Kremes there. Like, everybody see that picture of that fat fuck, you know, just lounging and dying in business class on a fucking airplane? Oh my god, bro. He's never had the optics for anything higher than God only knows how he became governor of New Jersey, but like, he tanked his political career when he was teary-eyed hugging Obama after Hurricane, I forget which one, ran up the coast. That was back in 2014. But, he's been politically dead for that long, and for him to waddle his way back onto the stage in order to pull, what is he getting, 1 or 2 points? Like, just to say that these guys are opponents is to say that an ant is an opponent to your shoe. Like, just fuck off.
Ridiculous that is to say. I suspect he would try to do it by turning Ukraine over to Putin and Russia. How would you do that?
Okay, ready? Number one, Chris Christie, who I know very well, he got out of New Jersey after the Bridgegate scandal, which was a mess. He got out of New Jersey with a 9% approval rating, and most people say it was less than that, okay? No, he wouldn't be the right guy to do it, but I am. I got along with Zelensky very well because he came up with the impeachment hoax #1. Yep. He came up, you know what he said? No, I wasn't threatened at all. I don't even know what you're talking about. When they said, were you threatened by President Trump? He was very good. He could have grandstanded and said, well, I felt a little bit threatened. No, he wasn't threatened at all. And he said it very loud and got along with him very well. I respected him for that. Because frankly, he could have done a grandstand and, maybe look good, maybe look bad. I don't know, but he could have done something different. He said, I was never threatened. That was a very nice conversation. I called him up to congratulate him. And with Putin, I have a very good relationship. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in a long while.
Yeah, exactly. So why would you think the guy that has a good relationship with both parties in this wouldn't be capable of at least, like, okay, that's Trump being a little bit hyperbolic. That's one of those, he's a constant liar. Okay, it'd probably take longer than 24 hours. But of any of the presidential candidates that are up there, who hasn't called Putin a war criminal? Okay, is there anybody that is also on that debate stage on the Republican side that hasn't said horrendous things about Putin? Trump on the other side has maintained a reasonable take when it comes to this, and both sides, even though he's had justifiable fodder to just go ahead and go salted earth on both sides. But no, of course, guess what? Guess who's the level head in this situation? The guy that apparently is not presidential and can't appeal to those housewives that are out there. This is why we listen to what the man has to say instead of just hearing the headlines that just mischaracterize everything.
But I had a very strong relationship with him.
Was he wrong to invade Ukraine?
He wouldn't have done it if it were me. He did that after I left. I thought he might do it. Look, I talked to him. I said, if you do it, there's going to be hell to pay. It's going to be a catastrophe. Don't do it. He said, no, you won't do that. I told him I was going to do something. He said, no, you will not do that. I said, I will, Vladimir, I will do it. I'm going to do it. And you know what?
I'm going to do it. You're not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to do it. Not going to do it.
He didn't believe me. Whatever. It was pretty bad. And he didn't believe me at all, except for maybe 10%. And 10% is all you needed. There was no threat. It was only after I left that you started hearing about this.
But you believe
I will tell you,
it's a separate country from Russia?
Yeah, right. It's a separate country,
So
but at
should
one
Putin-
point it wasn't a separate country.
Should Putin have
and
Crimea?
Putin liked it that way
Is
back.
that part of the deal? Should Putin get Crimea?
I don't know, you should probably go ask Obama that.
I mean, is that what you...
Right now, I don't talk about those deals because it really would impede a negotiation. Yeah. But I'm telling you, within 24 hours, that's what I did. I became very rich by doing deals, very rich. And you know what? Much more so than people even understand. And that's what I do. I would have a deal done in 24 hours from the time we started. And I would tell Zelensky something, and I would tell Putin something, and I'd get him into a room, and I'd tell him again and again. I would have a deal done very quickly. And you know what? The death would stop, and the destruction would stop. Because look, Ukraine has been wiped out.
Under your administration, the U.S. did not go to war.
First time in 78 years.
Can you see a scenario where you would go to war? If Iran, for example, got a nuclear weapon?
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. We would have had a great deal with Iran. I was getting very close to Iran. We would have had a deal done with Iran within 2 weeks after the election. They wouldn't have had a nuclear weapon, and they would have been very happy. Everybody would have been happy. I terminated that horrible thing called the Iran nuclear deal, one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. I've seen some dumb ones. NAFTA was bad, they were all bad. The dumbest one was the Iran nuclear deal, where billions of dollars in...
Yo, I'm just seeing what you guys are talking about in the chat. Biden is just old, not loony. I don't even think his relatives would agree with that assessment.
In cash was brought over to Iran in Boeing 757s and just handed billions. Cash, green cash. Remember one thing about that deal, it expired in a short period of time. You know, it expired. And that gave them an open road to having nuclear weapons. You know, people thought like this Iran nuclear deal that was done by Obama was like, it was so terrible. But remember this, it expired in just about now. It expired. And once it expired, they had the right to do anything. I terminated that deal, was on my way to making an unbelievable deal where they don't have nuclear weapons. The other thing I was, I think, doing very well with China and Russia, getting rid of nuclear weapons. I was making a lot of progress on that until the election.
And you think that's all gone away?
I think it can come back, but it certainly went away quickly.
One of the
countries... current administration doesn't have the capability to do it. They don't have the capability to do it. They don't have a clue. The Chinese, very smart. This is a very smart country. They own us. Until I came along, they just owned every president, including presidents that I like. But remember this, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I put a 50% tax on a tariff on, tax or tariff, you can call it either one, but I put a tariff on steel. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't have any steel mills. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't have washing machines in the United States being made anymore.
Yeah, that's what happens. Instead of having the Chinese government undercut everything that you're creating in your own country, you put things on an even playing field. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. You have the opportunity to buy American. Well, fuck it. Might as well do that. You know, patriotism, rah-rah, you know, buy nationally. Makes sense, right? So yeah, that makes sense. It makes it competitive. So either the Chinese have to drop their prices, or they got to look elsewhere, and nobody else has the demand that the United States can go ahead. And you can't just remove the United States as one of your main trade partners. You'd have to, and then just replace it with one other place. You'd have to make up with that for multiple different avenues. And as we've seen, even though China tried to make some inroads into Africa, oh my God, when China came into Africa in order to collect, they just looked at them and just started clicking aggressively, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, so we're not getting any of our investments back. Yeah, no, you can just get the fuck out of there. Once again, based Africa. I know, right? It's a weird time, folks. But yeah, talking about denuclearization with China and with Russia. There's another little state down there that you'd also have to get to give up their nuclear weapons, but don't necessarily know if they'd be willing to. You know, they need certain protection. You know, and it's a state that does in fact like good headwear. I'll just go ahead and say that. Just not exactly big enough to cover the entire part of your head.
One of the countries that's very concerned, obviously, about Iran and its nuclear ambitions is Saudi Arabia. Sure. What do you make of the Biden administration policy to Saudi Arabia?
Oh, I almost thought that was going to go right over there.
I think it's terrible. We've lost Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, they're friends of mine. They're great people. The crown prince and the king, I got along with them incredibly well. They would do anything. They are great people. Yeah. But they've actually gone over to China now, if you think about it.
BRICS.
Think of it. It was even unthinkable. If somebody suggested it during my administration, nobody would take it even seriously. Saudi Arabia's really gone over to China. China's protecting them now. We have lost Saudi Arabia. Biden goes over and does a fist pump with the king. Now he's the king, the future king of Saudi Arabia. You know what a fist pump is?
There you go. Okay, take a look at that picture and just tell me that he's just old, not loony.
Don't touch my hands because they're dirty. So he tells him, don't touch my hands because your hands are dirty. Let's do a fist pump. And he does a fist pump. Do you know how insulted they were by that? Look, we have people that are stupid running our country. This is the most dangerous time in the history, in my opinion, in the history of our country, in the history of the world, because of the power of weaponry. This is the most unbelievably dangerous time because of nuclear weapons and other things, by the way. We have incompetent people running our country in the most dangerous time. Now, little articles come out, just like two sentences long, that they spotted Russia sending nuclear weapons to Belarus. Little article, like 2 sentences. I said, that's a big thing. See, that's a big thing. That's so big. Can't allow that to happen. That's so big.
So what would you have done?
What's going to happen? He wouldn't have done it with me. Yeah. Putin wouldn't have done it with me, but that's the difference. Hard to...
Pause.
explain that to people. You know, you can do more if you have the right president by phone calls and quick meetings than you can by having all these so-called geniuses all over the place that don't know what they're doing.
On Saudi Arabia, what do you say to the critics who say you're too close to them, that you're getting a lot of money from Live Golf playing at your golf courses, and that there are billions of dollars of investment?
Yo, oh my, how the media is so butthurt over that PGA Live Golf merger. That's something that almost deserves its own deep dive into at some point in time, because my folks are big golf fans. Like, they love themselves to just sit down and watch a round of golf. They have forever. Oh my God, it was one of those things. It was one of those sounds of Sunday, okay? If it wasn't some rerun of fucking Under Siege 2 or whatever else TBS was playing, it was Fred Couples trying to make trying to hit a 2-iron from a fucking 240 yards out, for Christ's sakes. Okay, so they were big fans of Live Golf, and to see that merger go through is very interesting. And the amount of acrimony that was levied at Live Golf, and now that it's all just seemed to evaporate away because, oh, guess what, all these guys came home, but you're still taking all of those gamifying aspects from Live Golf. I'm probably boring the fuck out of the people that just want the politics side of it. I'll make a video about that into the future, but okay, it's just one of those things where it just, you know, popped into my head for a second. It's interesting if you like that kind of the aspect of sports from behind the scenes.
With your son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and daughter Ivanka, what do you say?
So I say proudly that I'm the only president. I expected I'd lose $1 billion or $2 billion, probably more than that, by being president. I lost billions of dollars by not doing deals in Saudi Arabia. I could have done hotels in Saudi Arabia. I could have done hotels in the Middle East. They offered me, I turned down one deal for $2 billion, net, nothing to do, just use the name Trump and build your job and this and that. I would have, $2 billion, I turned it down because I said it was inappropriate for us to do it. I told my kids who are good kids, and they're working kids, they're not scam artists. I told Don and Eric, we don't want to do any deals, and Ivanka. I don't want to do any deals. I just don't want to we got a lot of stuff. Just run it properly like this. Run it properly. I don't want to do deals because any deal I do is going to be perceived as being in conflict. Then all of a sudden I start to see the stuff that Biden's done, where he's going around scamming every country. He goes to a country and then millions of dollars shows up into accounts. And these aren't deals. This is cash coming in. And here's the most disappointing thing. The press doesn't want to cover it. Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan and that whole group, they're doing an incredible job. You take a look at the amount of writing done on the millions and millions of dollars coming out of China and other countries like, Ukraine, into the Biden family. And in all fairness to Fox, other than you, there's basically nobody that reports on it.
Rewind. Did you just praise Fox?
I did. I gave you a good
thank you. Yeah, we haven't covered that.
No, you could cover it. No, I'll give you.
Would you want Jared and Ivanka to serve in a second administration?
No, I don't. I said that's enough for the family. You know why? It's too painful for the family. My family's been through hell. I mean, Eric, my son, who's a fine boy, you know him very well. He's a fine young man. Good student, good everything, comes in, we're doing beautifully, then I decide to run for president. I mean, I don't think anybody in the world, in history, has ever had more subpoenas sent to them. Nobody has been through what my family has been through. Ivanka had a really successful line of clothing, I mean, making a fortune. When I did this, she closed it up. She sort of felt she had to, but she closed it up. My other boys were doing great. And I said, instead of let's take advantage of being president.
I think the only guy who's going to be, at least in some form or fashion, involved with the potential new administration would be Don Jr., but I'm totally fine with that. Outside of his one borked take when it came to Bud Light, yeah, he's super fucking based.
And I mean, some people would say that's stupid because everyone else has done it. Nancy Pelosi's worth $125 million, I read, and she never got paid more than $150,000 a year. Wow. How does that happen? How does that happen?
Yeah, you want to go.
She's an expert in stock trading.
Through this all again.
Because I want to make America great again. We had it great. We were respected all over the world. Very simple. I want to make America great again.
Need my MAGA hat.
We will have the other half.
Yeah, and we will also have the other half on the next live stream. I like that interview. God, that was good. Okay, that was so much better than a bunch of the rallies and the different reports. That was on par. And Bret Baier actually did a decent job. He was a little bit cunty at the beginning when it came to the boxes shit like that, but he was a hell of a lot better and a lot more personable than what's her nuts there, Caitlin Collins from CNN. And that's not just because she's a woman, it's just because Bret Baier's a little bit more fucking measured than that. You know, Trump still took his jabs when it came to Fox News, but yeah, he comported himself very nicely. I haven't heard anything about the second half of this stuff, but yeah, we'll watch that next time that we come through because I think that'll be interesting. And then also, yeah, because you guys seem to want that RFK live stream. We might roll some of that stuff together. That could be interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Don't know if that'll be up next or what we'll ultimately end up doing. But yeah, no, we'll have to take a look at what RFK is doing because, yeah, from what I'm seeing, I like what I see. A couple of notable missteps and Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting time. But thanks, guys, for turning out for this one. It went longer than I expected, but I really do appreciate the turnout, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces and some new ones in the chat. Chili, I seen you in the YouTube side of things, just fucking cutting it up with some very based takes. Glad to see you. Dark, I seen you in there as well. Shout out to you, Rookie, of course, on YouTube side. Who else was in here? No, for sure. So yeah, Ed, of course, thank you once again for your generosity. The fucking, my benefactor for a reason. What else we got in here? We got Mike. I see you in here cutting it up. Got some goofy takes, but that's totally fine, my guy. Okay, you're welcome here. You're welcome here at all times. Manu, seen you in here as well. Kathy Mello, not a name that I recognize, but if you're still in here, shout out. Donut Gets Real. Yeah, not another name that I recognize, but thanks for tuning in. I really do appreciate that. Non Sequitur, if you're still in here as well, shout out to you. Jimmy P. Meme, already shouted you out, but it never hurts. That's my guy right there. Ed, oh yeah, you're still over here on the YouTube side. And then George coming through on the Rumble side as well. So, no, I appreciate you guys. And yeah, maybe the RFK stuff tomorrow, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday. But yeah, no, and Meadows, thanks for turning out, man. I appreciate it. No, for sure. We'll figure it out. But yeah, anticipate RFK. If not, it'll be a grab bag with the second half of this stuff. And I know Jubilee's probably got some stuff, but I'd rather kind of stick to politics when it comes to these live streams because they're a little bit more involved, and it's shit that I know like the back of my hand, so we can just go ahead and hop right into this stuff. So until Tuesday, folks, but we got a whole litany of new and interesting stuff coming out tomorrow. What was the fuck? Oh my god, I cut up some shit for earlier today, and I can't quite remember. All I know is there was some oh my god, if you guys didn't check out, as long as you have the stomach for it, all of that pride shit that was happening across the country, oh my god, some of that shit made my fucking stomach curl. And if I have to take a look at old man balls anymore, or just some awful fat girl tits, ugh, god, it's just I would rather not have to do that ever again. I do that so you guys don't have to. Okay, I'm already queasy enough so that hey, just taking a look at that once again. If there's anything that's in there, just get rid of the virus that way, right? It doesn't require a jab that way. So with all that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Thanks again, everybody, for turning out, and take care, everyone.